This is what you would see if it wasn't for the hard-working volunteers at Channel 10. But thanks to their great effort, this is what you get.
Good morning. This is Deb Thomas, the Chief Librarian of the Nelson Municipal Library, and I'm here today, as you can see, to talk about books about being outdoors and hiking and enjoying British Columbia's beautiful outdoors. The very first book I want to talk about is Adventuring in British Columbia. It's by Isabel Natton and Mary Simpson, and it's a Sierra Club Adventure Travel Guide. Authors Natton and Simpson have compiled a comprehensive guide to outdoor adventures in British Columbia. This book includes region-by-region descriptions of a full range of outdoor adventures, including hiking, skiing, canoeing, kayaking, whitewater rafting, sailing, diving, fishing, horsepacking, bicycling, caving, and more. An overview of the province and its 10 major regions includes history, natural features, climate, wildlife, maps, points of local interest, and details on how to get there. Short sections throughout with useful information on local activities, adventure travel operators, and sources for maps, brochures, and other essentials. Information on road, train, bus, ferry, and logging road travel in the province, and advice about where to stay, including mountain lodges, camping, safety, outdoor cooking, and more. Addresses for parks and recreation boards, tourism associations, and outdoor clubs around the province. And lastly, the inside dope on everything from the most challenging limestone caves on Vancouver Island to the best creeks in the province for a dunk on a hot day, or the best hot springs for a dip on a cold one. I would have liked a few more pictures and maps in here actually, but the authors obviously needed room for the great quantity of information they wanted to share with fellow outdoor enthusiasts. After all, the best way to see the places described is to go there yourself. The nice thing about this is it does have a good little section on the Kootenays, and there isn't a lot out there. There's one book in our library called Exploring the Purcells, which has some good stuff on the trails in the Kootenays, but there isn't one really good book with all of our Kootenay trails. The next book I wanted to talk about is this one called Island Treasures 2. An Insider's Guide to Victoria, Vancouver Island, and the Gulf Islands, and it's by Carolyn Thomas and Jill Stewart. This guide encompasses more than outdoor adventures. Authors Thomas and Stewart have given readers the inside scoop on everything from art galleries to jogging trails, fine restaurants to used bookstores, hidden beaches to farmhouse accommodations. The authors have clearly enjoyed the travels which spawned this book, and their enthusiasm for their subject, whether it is the beauty of the West Coast Trail or the taste of Rogers chocolates, is infectious. So if you find yourself in dreary February aching for an early spring in a beautiful part of the world, head out for Vancouver Island or the Gulf Islands and take this book with you. This book is also about the Gulf Islands, but it's about the Northern Gulf Islands. The Northern Gulf Islands Explorer, the Outdoor Guide by Elaine Jones. This guide covers the islands a little farther north than the previous book. It covers Gabriola, Newcastle, Muscogee, Denman, Hornby, Quadra, Cortez, Malcolm, and Cormorant. It is well illustrated with clear and plentiful maps and many black and white photographs. Each island is carefully described in terms of its basic character, a little bit of history thrown in there too. Available accommodations, outdoor attractions, access by ferry, private boat, and so on. The charm of these islands is that they haven't yet been quite as deluged with tourists as the southern Gulf Islands, and can even be pleasant to visit in the summer. Try them. The next book is Trails to Timberline in West Central British Columbia by Einar Blix. This is the second edition of this thorough guide to over 50 hikes in the Kitimat, Terrace, Smithers, and Hazelton area. An introduction discusses geography and climate, clothing and equipment, and the adventurers, hiker, climber, or skiers' responsibility to the fragile alpine environment. I was glad to see that the authors do not recommend the use of dirt bikes, 4x4 trucks, or snowmobiles in this area, as I also find them destructive and disruptive. This book then discusses each trail in detail, location, maps required, route description, directions, and comments. A topographical map of each trail area is also included, and black and white photographs are scattered throughout the book. For those who feel they would like to explore some new mountains, this area and this guide are worth investigating. My last book, which is taking a tumble here, just put it in here. This is a hiking guide to the big trees of southwestern British Columbia by Randy Stoltman. Though this book focuses on the southern BC coast, and there's certainly some big trees in the interior as well, I thought it worth mentioning in these times when more and more conflicts are arising around the preservation of these grand old giants. Stoltman opens the book with some information on big trees, the Pacific Northwest climate that spawns them, the conservation movement that protects them, the methods by which they are measured, and a list of the largest trees from the British Columbia Register of Great Trees. As in the other guide, the author begins the trail section by reminding us of our wilderness ethics. The descriptions of the trails are accompanied by black and white photographs and simple maps, much easier for the amateur to follow than the topographical maps in Trails and Timberline. Amateur hikers will also find many of the largest trees very accessible. 3 of the 25 listed are in Stanley Park, 3 are in North Saanich, 1 is in West Vancouver, several are on the Gulf Islands. You get the idea. You can view these wonders of nature without being a seasoned climber or backpacker. I personally feel that the more of us that see them, the better their chances for survival in a society torn between economic difficulties and the desire to preserve what is left of the world's wilderness. In closing, I'd like to remind all of you to get out in the fresh air and really experience British Columbia. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover. Thank you. See you next month.